Art is subjective from person to person, especially paintings. Some people might not understand why paintings could be sold at such an expensive price, while some would be willing to spend millions on it. In this video, we are introducing the 10 most expensive paintings that have ever been sold in the world, and hopefully could blow your mind. Number 10. Number 5, 1948 by Jackson Pollock, sold for $140 million in 2006. For those of you who are new to art, this exaggerating painting was actually created by the American abstract expressionist Jackson Pollock in the year 1948. The artwork was being created in a huge composition board size 2.4 meters long and 1.2 meters wide, covered entirely with liquid paints, using Pollock's unique technique of pouring and splashing. The painting was owned by the famous Hollywood entertainment magnate David Geffen till the year 2006, which the art piece was being sold for $140 million on a private sale basis. It's believed the money received from selling this art piece is for Geffen to raise funding for his bidding for the Los Angeles Times. Number 9. Masterpiece by Roy Lichtenstein, sold for $165 million in 2017. Painted in the year 1962, this painting named Masterpiece was created by the American artist Roy Lichtenstein, who is one of the leading artists of pop art in the modern century. Featuring two people's conversation showing the women saying, "Why, Brad, darling, this painting is a masterpiece. My, soon you'll have all of New York clamoring your work." Masterpiece has perfectly shown Roy Lichtenstein's significant styles of his artwork, which are comics drawn with Ben-Day dots, along with some narrative conversations. In 2017, this art piece was being sold by Agnes Gund, the president emerita of the Museum of Modern Art, to the hedge fund billionaire Steve Cohen for $165 million. The reason for this art collector to sell her precious art collections is to raise funds for her funding organization, Art for Justice. Although the trading price of this painting is quite high, it seems like the results have paid off. Number 8. Water Serpents 2 by Gustav Klimt, sold for $170 million in 2015. Water Serpents 2, also named Wasserschlangen 2. This fascinating oil painting is created by Austrian artist Gustav Klimt. Well known for combining female body and figurative styles, Klimt was most influenced by Japanese art and its painting methods. However, this talented artist was being criticized during his era, as his artwork was often being considered erotic and controversial at that time. Painted in 1907, Water Serpents 2 is the second art piece of his series of art, Water Serpents. The painting was lately being sold for $170 million in 2015 by Russian billionaire Dmitry Rybolovlev on a private sale basis. While the buyers remained anonymous, some believe that this masterpiece was being bought by an unnamed Qatari princess as one of her private art collections. Number 7. Nu Couché, also known as Red Nude, by Amedeo Modigliani, sold for $170.4 million in 2015. Showing a naked woman lying on some red couches, this art piece is actually one of the paintings from the famous series of nude paintings created by the Italian artist Amedeo Modigliani in 1917. Back in the 21st century in 2015, the painting was being sold for $170.4 million at a Christie's auction, bought by a Chinese businessman named Liu Yiqian, which makes the artwork become one of the collections being displayed in his own museum, Long Museum, located in Shanghai. Well known for his huge collection of art pieces, it is no surprise that Liu would be willing to spend this tremendous amount of money on purchasing this painting. Moreover, instead of using cash or check, this rich businessman actually spent this amount using his American Express credit card. What a huge credit limit. Number 6. Women in Algiers Version O by Pablo Picasso, sold for $179.4 million in 2015. Finding artists having the most amount of multiple talents, Picasso is definitely one. Born in 1881, this Spanish artist was not only capable in paintings, but also a sculptor, printmaker, ceramicist, and even a theater designer. Picasso was well known as the founder of a broad variety of art forms such as Cubism and assemblage. And the painting Women in Algiers Version O is definitely one of his proudest masterpieces. Created in 1955, the version O is actually the final painting of his whole series of 15 paintings, Women of Algiers. In fact, the whole series of Women of Algiers is being inspired by the oil painting The Women of Algiers in Their Apartment by French artist Eugène Delacroix, which was one of the talented artists Picasso looked up to. This fascinating art piece was being sold at $179.4 million in Christie's auction house in 2015, bought by the former Qatari Prime Minister Hamad bin Jassim bin Jaber Al Thani, which has set the record of the most expensive artwork being sold at an auction up till the year 2015. Number 5. Number 6. Violet, Red and Green by Mark Rothko, sold for $188 million in 2014. Mark Rothko, the Latvian-American abstract expressionist artist, was well known for using color field paintings to create rectangular shapes with different colors in his artwork. Born in 1903, Mark Rothko was famous from associated with the modern art movement of abstract expression, and the art pieces number 6, Violet, Green and Red, was undoubtedly the most significant representative of his career. Painted in 1951, this painting consists of a large piece of areas covered by hazy and uneven shades colored in violet, blue, green, and red, giving a harmonious and peaceful outline to audiences. In 2014, this art piece was bought by a Russian businessman, Dmitry Rybolovlev, with a tremendous price of 140 million euros on a private sale basis, which equals about 188 million US dollars. Number 4. Nefeya Fa Ipo Ipo, also known as When Will You Marry by Paul Gauguin, sold for $210 million in 2014. Born in 1848, Gauguin was definitely one of the significant artists representing post-impressionism in art history. He was famous for combining a series of unique colors and synthetic style, which has influenced many modern artists, such as Henri Matisse and Pablo Picasso. This oil painting, When Will You Marry, was created in 1892, featuring two women dressed in traditional Tahitian clothes sitting on the ground. This painting was one of Gauguin's artworks that recorded the life of native women when he traveled to Tahiti in 1891. The painting was eventually sold in 2014 by the former Sotheby executive Rudolf Stockhausen to Sheikh Al Mayasa bin Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, the chairperson of Qatar Museum, for $210 million, and being exhibited in the Foundation Bel Air until 2015. Number 3. The Card Players by Paul Cézanne, sold for $250 million in 2011. The Card Players is a series of 5 oil paintings featuring different players enjoying their game, which is believed to represent the life of Provençal peasants at the time. The painter of this artwork was Paul Cézanne, a French post-impressionist artist who was born in the 18th century. Being one of the representatives of the post-impressionist, Cézanne was well known for utilizing different tones of color and his technique of brushstrokes, which built up the whole version of his art pieces. Featured in this 2-player version of the painting, Cézanne skillfully interpreted how concentrated these players were in the card game by using their facial expression. Eyes down, no conversations, only focuses on the cards. In 2011, one of the 2-player versions of the Card Players was being sold for $250 million to the royal family of Qatar, while the 4 other versions were being exhibited in different museums and foundations, including the Courtauld, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Barnes Foundation, and the Musée d'Orsay. Number 2. Interchange by Willem de Kooning, sold for $300 million in 2015. Willem de Kooning was a Dutch-American abstract expressionist artist born in 1904. This large masterpiece, which lengthened with 2 meters long and 1.7 meters width, is considered as one of de Kooning's major abstract expression art pieces. Created in 1955, Interchange was an oil painting which believed to represent de Kooning's neighborhood when he was living in the downtown of New York, outlining the architecture and his communities in the surrounding. In 2015, Interchange was being sold by the David Geffen Foundation to Kenneth C. Griffin, an American hedge fund manager, for an unbelievable price of $300 million, which has been on loan at the Art Institute of Chicago. Number 1. Salvator Mundi by Leonardo da Vinci, sold for $450.3 million in 2017. Here comes the champion among the most expensive paintings today, the Salvator Mundi, created by the Italian Renaissance artist Leonardo da Vinci. Da Vinci was known as the genius among the most diversified fields such as anatomy, astronomy, cartography, and paleontology. Painted in 1500, this artwork had illustrated Jesus making the sign of cross with his right hand, while holding a crystal ball on the other hand, which is considered as the celestial sphere of heaven. In fact, Salvator Mundi's original version was thought to be lost after the mid-17th century until the year 1978, which found that the copied version in Marquis Jean-Louis Deganet collection was actually the lost original. After experts removed the overpaint part on the painting, they realized that the painting was damaged by certain sharp objects, leaving a long tear on it. After restoration work finished in 2011, the painting was then exhibited in several museums and traded in different private sales. Eventually, in 2017, Salvator Mundi was being sold at the Christie's auction for $450 million, bought by Prince Badr bin Abdullah on behalf of Abu Dhabi's Department of Culture and Tourism, making Salvator Mundi the most expensive painting ever sold in the world. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video interesting. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. More great videos coming soon.